Here, you're ready for your dose of reality. Everyone, Merry Christmas and welcome to the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And no, you're not getting a lump of coal by reviewing this show right here. The show is actually all right, but
it's not bad. The Royal Rumble 1999.
Yeah, we get another Cole. We get a Michael Cole.
Ooh, yeah. Let's start this party off, shall we? Because this was 1999. First thing I want to bring up, though, is the coolness of the signs out there in the audience. You saw things like Pimps Up, Hose Down, Fubar 316, Joe Bob 316, 830, everybody doing the whole Steve Austin thing. This is what made it awesome, because fans were so interactive in this. You could not see this today. It's totally different.
Yeah, this was a time. This was the Attitude Era. While a lot of people remember the Attitude Era fondly, we're going to show you not all of it was good. Not all of it should be remembered fondly. This is the time when basically everything was allowed. And not a lot of this would pass muster today. The Godfather would not pass muster today. Several other gimmicks would not pass muster today. But we don't care about what happened today. This happened in 1999. Take a chill pill, folks. This is what was allowed at that time.
Warning, might get triggered by things here today. But
if you get triggered, we don't want you here.
And let's get down to it in Anaheim, California, at the Arrowhead Pond Arena.
Yeah, and this is something I'm going to start right off with because I already know what his two-finger salute is. I don't want to spray the same thing he's going to spray. This was sponsored by 10-10-220. Now, for those of you that don't remember that blip on the radar, 10-10-220, when you guys had 800 numbers and 900 numbers, and everybody was tired of paying $3.99 a minute to hear Gene Okerlund spiel on for 45 seconds to tell you, and the match coming up is pay another $3.99 to hear. So people came out with 10-10-220, which allowed you, if you punched that code in and then used a long distance phone number, which that's something else, by the way, people don't know about anymore, long distance phone numbers. But if you tried to call outside of your zip code or outside of your area code and had to use a long distance number, you could type in 10-10-220, and then you got to decide the cheapest rate because those people were supposed to ask you who you wanted to use. Well, the problem was Ma Bell got smart about it and started charging you an extra fee on the 10-10-220, and it went away real quick. But give it up to Vince McMahon for trying to be trendy, something he's not known for. But I just want to spray 10-10-220 because that was a idea. And yes, I'm going to use the unoffensive word because we're in 1999. Please, editor, don't remove it.
Alrighty. Well, on commentary, we had Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, and Shane McMahon. And even Vince McMahon.
Yeah. For some reason, we didn't bother to take the time to look it up. Jim Ross wasn't here for this show. He may have had a bout of Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
His throat may have been bothering him, but we get the... He gets better, folks, but not at this point. We get Michael Cole, who couldn't figure out how to stay the same distance away from the microphone, so sometimes he would talk a little bit softer, and then sometimes he would talk too loud, and then he would talk... So... Michael Cole's gotten better. He's actually decent and passable now, but in 1999, he was not.
No. On Spanish commentary, Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Sanovich.
They had a third person over there, but they didn't bother to list him down. It was Jorge Luis Estrada was the third person that was over there doing Spanish commentary. I never have had an issue with the Spanish commentary team. They're always good sports. For the longest time, they knew they were a weapon. And so I've never had a problem with the Spanish announce team.
Yeah, and on interviews, we had Mr. 90s himself, Doc Hendricks, Kevin Kelly. Yeah, both of them.
Doc Hendricks, we've already gone over who that is. If you don't know who it is, you need to go back and watch and figure out where we tell you who that is.
Google it.
No, we want them to watch our show.
Oh, okay.
Don't do what he just said. It may be the Dr. Quack podcast, but he's not smart enough to put over his own product.
That's right.
But we get, Mr. 90s, Doc Hendricks, and Kevin Kelly, who was probably the best sport at being the butt of everyone's jokes. And he's not a bad guy on commentary, not a bad guy doing the backstage interviewing stuff, but we get these two.
Yeah, and on referees, we had a long list here. We had Mike Chioda, Earl Hebner, Jimmy Corderas, Theodore Long, and Timmy White. We actually got a Teddy Long sighting in a referee out there.
That's right, and this is the time that, for some reason, Vince McMahon thought all the referees should only work one match, just like the wrestlers. So they worked one match, plus all of them were standing around the ring. I'm okay with that. It's Vince's company. He can do what he wants, but they're all competent referees.
But I'm going to tell you, let's start my quack attack right now. Yeah.
Stealing my thunder again?
Oh, I am. I'm starting with my quack attack here, even before the matches we talk about. Because WWE production at this time knew about montages.
Yes, that's true.
Knew how to set every match up that needed to be set up. The opening of the show with Austin McMahon really set the table for the entire show. It made me just go, okay, cool. I want to see this main event. I want to see who wins the Rumble. I want to see all the matches in here. You know, even some of the ones that are not so good, but I still want to see them. They made me really entertained.
And whoever it was that they had hired to do those, they need to bring them back, because what we mean by a montage doesn't mean a match-by-match, show-by-show, 25-minute debut for a 15-minute match. The entire montage, if you took every single montage, was only about 6 minutes. And that's for every match, everything that needed to get put over. We need to go back to that, WWE. We don't need a blow-by-blow in case you missed one episode to know what's going on. We can figure it out for ourselves.
That's right. It's our job to do that. But let's go with the first match here. We have one half of the tag team champions at the time, the Big Boss Man, taking on the hardcore champion, the Road Dogg.
Yeah, this time the Vince's corporation existed. So the Big Boss Man and Ken Shamrock were the tag team champions. They had taken them off the New Age Outlaws. So we get the Road Dogg doing his ring announcing, which he was good at, and then we watch him wrestle, and he was not good at that. Taking on the Boss Man, who was halfway decent at this point. He was starting to slow down a little bit. He'd been in the business a long time. So he was starting to slow down, but he was still very good, very entertaining. The crowd was really hot. This was only an okay match, but the crowd really liked what they saw. And it wasn't because the Road Dogg did his normal thing. Once you got past that, the crowd actually was still entertained and interested in what the Boss Man was doing. So I went 2 stars on this. It was a pretty good opener compared to everything else we had on this show.
I actually went higher. I went 2 3/4 stars. I love this match for the setting of the table. The fans were on fire. You know, you've seen like high and low points throughout this show, but this match here I really liked. You know, Boss Man came out with the victory there. Looked really good. So now, let's move on here.
Do we have to? Because it starts going downhill from here, folks, for a little while.
Oh,
we get the roller coaster. Right? We do end on a high note, but
yeah, we. We had the Intercontinental Championship match. Ken Shamrock taking on Billy Gunn.
All right, so as you're going to see here in the undercard matches of this, it is all DX. What? But in this match, we get the IC champion and one half the tag champions, Ken Shamrock, taking on Badass Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, the Badass. They couldn't decide what name they wanted to call him throughout this match. And the storyline was that Ken Shamrock loved to use the ankle lock, so he worked the ankle, worked the leg, and Billy Gunn didn't know how to sell it. Until the very, very end, when it was an oversell. The crowd did not care.
No, they didn't. They were sitting on their hands.
After about a minute and a half into this 14-minute long match,
oh my God,
the crowd was silent. The crowd didn't get up during anything. Ken Shamrock's offense stayed on too long trying to get the crowd to feel sorry for Billy Gunn, and they did not. I went 1.5 stars. Yippee.
Yeah, I went 2.25. It wasn't as good as that first match. And that second match usually was the bathroom break match in the Attitude Era. That was where you went up to get popcorn or where you went to the bathroom. But, you know, it was a solid match. It wasn't phenomenal. But, you know, we'll let it pass, I guess.
1.5 is a D.
Yeah, it's a passing grade, so okay. We'll move on here. So, the European Championship, X-Pac defending against Gangrel.
As you see, we're at the third member of DX here at this point with Commissioner Michaels, who didn't appear on the show except in pre-filmed vignette stuff. And I want to talk about, this is something WWF really had a problem with in the Attitude Era. The road agents all were given marching orders. They're still that today, but at least they're a little more autonomous. This is the third match in a row where we had somebody thrown into the corner, his opponent climb up and give him the fist 10 count with the crowd counting along. With some kind of stop at the 9 for whether it was a crotch chop, it was a show-it, it was a show like X-Pac did, the people hate him for it, before we get the 10th punch. Gangrel came out. I know you're not a fan of him personally, but Gangrel's entrance was incredible. It was a great, incredible entrance. He's not a horrible worker. He's very pigeonholed, and he is a little sloppy, but he's passable. You could put him as a jobber to the Stars, and the Stars will look good. So I'm not going to fault Gangrel. I'm not even going to fault X-Pac on this one. This match was okay.
The fans just did not care, though.
This was a true example of a mid-card match. This was right at the midpoint, getting ready to go into going back and getting your concession stand. So the crowd was, they started to come up a little bit. It was a good back and forth match. I went 2.25 on this one, but it was only okay.
Yeah, I actually went lower. I went 2 stars even. I just felt that it was a flat match. It was very boring. The fans did not care. I mean, it helped with X-Pac retaining the title. He was a decent European champion for the time he was there.
Fair.
Like, you know, I've seen better. I've seen worse. But now
we get Shane McMahon on commentary.
Yeah, oh yeah, Shane McMahon. Not just on commentary, but also announcing.
Yeah, I know it was coming. I want to delay it because this is how you build interest, folks. This is something that a lot of times I'm going to bring it up and then I want you to throw the 2-finger salute. The way you describe the Attitude Era, the undercard is garbage. The main events were awesome. Give it to them.
Now I got my 2-finger salute. Yeah, this match here was garbage. And I'm going to explain why. This was Sable against Luna for the Women's Championship. If you ever watched Beyond the Mat, then you know the story behind this with Vince Russo talking to Sable, telling her, sell the back, sell the back. Don't hit me. She's like, don't hit me in the head. She was afraid of breaking her nose or getting a concussion, so she had to get hit in the back with the title. And yeah, she just sold this horrible. She's like this, walking down the ring. Just walking down the ring the whole time. And, no facial expression, no limp, no nothing. It was straight garbage. Her selling in the ring was straight garbage. It was terrible. It was one of the worst selling jobs I've ever seen. It's not Luna's fault on this, believe me. But this two-finger salute right here, it goes to Sable.
That's probably why she married Brock Lesnar. Big fists.
1.5 stars. And that 1.5 goes all to Luna Vachon. Rest in peace.
Yeah, Sable was a blip on wrestling. She
had airbags. Let's just put it that way. She had airbags.
She destroyed 2 careers. She almost destroyed 2 others. And this is all in like a year and a half that she was in the wrestling business. A year and a half or 2 years. She destroyed 2 careers, tried to destroy 2 others, tried to sue Vince McMahon for $110 million for sexual harassment, even though she was the one that came up with all the ideas. She didn't belong. She couldn't sell. Her ponytail sold better than she did.
Oh, God.
And poor Luna Vachon. This was a strap match for the women's title.
Yeah, strap match. I'm sorry. Yeah, this was so stupid. I get the finish, though. You want to have them tied up like they're there. She tags the corner, then Sable tags the corner, Luna tags third, all that. And then, of course, towards the middle, they had to flip her over, and that was looking like straight garbage. That was a painful thing to watch. Sable trying to flip over Luna, and, of course, running over and tagging it. Of course, she had to win. And Tori, we got a Tori sighting.
Yeah, this is not Tori Wilson. Exactly. This is not Tori Wilson. She was known in LPWA as Terry Power. She wrestled for a while in the Pacific Northwest. She wrestled down in Alabama, I believe. And then she came over here. She was the other Tori with 2 eyes.
Yeah, if you've never seen LPWA, it's in the 80s. You should go look it up.
Terry Power was great.
Yes.
Tori, not so much.
No, they made her look bad. And they put her in bad storylines throughout the years she was there. It was terrible.
Yeah, I think we've knocked this into the ground. But give me Little McMahon there.
You want Little McMahon?
Even Little McMahon. Stop that! That's bad shit.
It really was. It was god awful. Let's move on here. Something positive here, because we had the I Quit match for the WWF Championship. The Rock taking on Mankind.
Yes, and this is a very, very famous match. This match also appeared in Beyond the Mats, because we got to see it from Mick Foley's wife, Colette's point of view. She actually hates this match.
Yes.
The crowd loved this match. This match was actually a good match, even though the ending was a little overboard. If you're not familiar with this match, this is the one where Mick Foley got hit, handcuffed, 15 times in the head with a chair, and then laid down, and they piped in him saying, "I quit," from a previous promo. So yes, we gave it away. The Rock won the world title on this night. But all in all, it was a great storytelling match. Even with Mick Foley handcuffed, he still got good offense in. This was a great example of storytelling, how to build up the suspense, how to build up the interest. Even though they went overboard at the end, the storytelling was awesome. I went 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I would have went higher. I went 3.5 stars as well. But I'm telling you, the problem was The Rock's promo at the beginning. I mean, and this is why, seeing Beyond the Mat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This was a really scripted promo, which is a big problem today. When you have somebody that's writing your script and you're having to rehearse it 4 or 5 times before you come out there, and you got to be word for word. It was just not that great. It really watered it down. But the match was phenomenal. Foley taking that bump off the arena where the stands were onto that electric. Where all the speakers and all the electric equipment was. Yeah, that was phenomenal. 3.5 stars for me.
All right, so now we're going to move in.
and all the electric equipment was. Yeah, that was phenomenal. 3.5 stars for me.
All right, so now we're going to move in
to the main event.
Yep, and well, this was actually a decent one in retrospect. I didn't remember it being all that great. It was actually better than in watching it again. But we're going to talk about some things that they didn't need to do that really hurt the rating on this one. So go ahead and do your normal open with this so I can tell us who's there.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble 1999. It was set up very wild here because Vince McMahon on a Monday Night Raw drew out number 1. Who would it be? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Gee, I think he had number 1 4 or 5 times, And then Commissioner Michaels said, oh, you want to be a competitor now, so I have that power. Vince McMahon was number 2.
That's right.
Now go down the list because we have a lot of great athletes on this card. And then we don't have some great athletes.
Yeah, now there are 11 Hall of Famers in this. With some of these names, when you hear that, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. It actually, like I said, it actually was decent. So 1 and 2, Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. Then we have, from the oddities, we have Golga, who was Earthquake.
Yeah.
We have Draws, who was Puke at this time. He was not Draws, he was Puke. We have Edge, Gilbert, Steve Blackman, Dan the Beast Severin.
Oh boy.
Tiger Ali Singh, the Blue Meanie. Now, it was supposed to be Mosh, but we got Mabel. The Road Dogg, Gangrel, Kurgan from the Oddities. Al Snow, Goldust, The Godfather, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Billy Gunn, Test, The Big Boss Man, Triple H, Val Venus, X-Pac, Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett, D'Lo Brown, Owen Hart, and Chyna being the first woman ever to compete in a Royal Rumble.
And, you pointed this out while we were watching here. You remember that show where The Rock and Mankind fought in the empty arena match?
Yes.
I guess they thought this would be the empty ring match because how many times was that you said?
3 times the ring was totally empty because everybody was eliminated or was off doing other things, which, by the way, there was also 4 times where they significantly, talking over 45 seconds, significantly cut away from the ring action to watch other things happening.
I mean, we had an abduction in there.
That's right, because at this time, The Undertaker was building the Ministry of Darkness. And at this time, they had the Acolytes, which became known as the APA, Farouk and Bradshaw. They also had Henry Godwin was now called Midian, and they kidnapped someone else who we all know became Viscera, or Mabel.
And, of course, at the beginning, Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin were going at it. Of course, McMahon went up the stairs, went to a bathroom. The corporation ended up attacking him and knocking him down. The funny part was, here comes McMahon back to the ring. I think it was about number 20. Something like
that. Yeah, he came back at Shamrock's music, so right. It was 19.
Yeah, 19. He came in the ring. Shamrock's walking down. He's just like, yep, I'm going over to the commentator's table. And Michael Cole is sitting there asking, you don't want to be in the ring with Ken Shamrock? And he looks at him like, are you nuts? And frankly, I can't blame him.
Yeah. But this was actually, that's where Cole kind of woke up and started to actually get decent, was during about the halfway point of this, maybe because the boss was sitting next to him. But Golga went out very quick, and then we have an empty ring while we wait for Draws to come down, and then Draws made his way to the ring, stood in the ring the entire time with no other competition, and they spent the whole time following Stone Cold Steve Austin getting beat up in the women's bathroom. So then we get Edge coming out there, and then we get Gilbert, who was actually pretty funny the way he came down doing his thing.
Should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
He's standing there leaning over the crowd and gets dumped, and it's the crowd, you could hear they were deflated. It was funny. Steve Blackman, Tiger Ali Singh. We get the Blue Meanie. Then Mabel comes down and it goes dark, and he gets kidnapped. That's where we have a second significant time where we're not looking at what's going on.
He eliminated 5 guys in 30 seconds.
Yes, he did. He eliminated, I actually wrote him down. He eliminated Puke, Steve Blackman, Dan Severin, the Blue Meanie, Tiger Ali Singh, and himself.
But let's talk about the ending here of this, because I know we got a lot of guys who got eliminated, but the ending was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, 1 and 2. And, Austin is beating the ever-living life out of him. You're like, can you just throw him over the top and win this match? And out comes The Rock.
That's right. Out comes The Rock because The Rock has become the corporate champion. And so he's out there arguing with Stone Cold because the whole backstory that they covered with is that Stone Cold had just signed a contract where he was going to be guaranteed a title shot. Well, Vince McMahon kept throwing obstacles in the way of, yes, you're guaranteed a title shot if you can beat this person. Well, then they interfered and he got disqualified. So now you have to do this and something else would happen. Well, the next version was he had to win the Royal Rumble from number 1. So there's The Rock distracting him, and Vince McMahon comes up and dumps him over the top rope, which by this point in 1999, we're now on the 6th person to win the Royal Rumble in their first attempt, making Vince McMahon number 6.
Yeah, because you forgot somebody that you didn't want to mention. I'll be your hero!
No, I blotted it out of my memory because I can't say plethora, because he can't say plethora.
But yeah, overall, it was a great show. It led to bigger things. It led to one of the best WrestleManias, out there when The Rock took on Stone Cold Steve Austin.
15 was a very good one. We did not cover that one in our Road to WrestleMania when we were doing.
We will cover that later this year. Make sure you look.
But that is a great one. It is worth reviewing. All in all, though, I did go 3 stars. Even though it was only a 90 seconds, there was a lot of other things that bookers should learn and directors should learn to do things like if you're selling the Royal Rumble, watch the Royal Rumble. This is the exception that proves the rule. This is the one time where everything else going on worked.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go about 3 1/4. I feel like this was really above average. It had a lot of star power in it. It didn't have a lot of blah, 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 but at least everything added up in the end.
Yes.
But that's our show for that. Thank you guys for tuning in here for the Royal Rumble 1999. But now look what we're getting ready to see. And we're actually going to see...
It's another Royal Rumble, right?
Oh, it is. And this one here is one of the best.
I know this is not normal, editor. Can I get a Chuck Norris approves right next to this? This is a great example of a great Royal Rumble.
So get ready to tune in next time, kiddies. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm just going to keep staring at it because it's awesome.
Yeah, we're out. Hello, everyone. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in here. Thank you guys for watching everything as far as Dr. Quack Podcast, as far as Heart and Soul Promotions. Thank you guys for tuning in. We look forward to bringing you more entertainment here starting in 2022. But I wanted to come on here personally, and I wanted to say Merry Christmas to everyone and have a Happy New Year. And I can't wait to see you guys in 2022. Next show, December 30th, Rig, Tin Man, no holds barred. See you then.